a Microsoft Surface where operating system no longer being detected. And this goes on one of these sides. It's in a boot loop. Is actually not a good sign. The fact that it just turned itself off. It might be the power cord. That's not good. We're gonna need some guitar pick style separators. We're going to need some suction cups. And we're gonna need a whole lot of heat. Okay. Okay, let's work on a nice video here. All right, today we're going to be working on a Microsoft Surface Pro 7. It's a pretty known issue. You turn it on, you get a logo, and then it turns itself right off. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it apart. We're going to check the motherboard, see if we can get it to become alive again. And if we can't, we're going to see if there's any way we can pull the data off of this. Because usually there is not. So, to disassemble these guys, like a lot of Microsoft products are designed to be taken apart once and never be taken apart again and never be put back together. So we're going to be using just some little pick wedges to get underneath there. We don't want to use anything metal at all. And then we have some suction cups. So we're going to get this up to a little bit of temperature here. And I have this on a piece of marble so that the heat doesn't go into my nice mat. And just be extremely careful with this when you start using something like this. It's going to do some damage to anything you have this thing pointed at. Hello, Allie. How are you today? Happy Saturday. One of the things I recommend for when you're heating up a device like this is you want to heat up the whole thing. You don't want to heat up just a single corner, because then you'll have soft adhesive on one side and very hard adhesive on the other, which then creates a pinch point right in the center. It'll crack this screen in half. So we're going to get the whole thing up to some temperature here. Right now we're up into the about 110, 120 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to be shooting for right about 150. But again, we don't want to leave this thing just pointed in one spot the whole time. We might actually go a little bit higher, up to 175. So you can see where I'm running the iron, the actual heat gun. The adhesive is around the edge on this thing entirely.
Three hours later.
Okay. So So the instructions from Microsoft are to attempt to get into this thing through the speaker grill. Yeah. So where it wants me to go is right there. Alright, and what we're going to do is we're going to rotate this pick all the way down to the bottom. Getting our temperature up here. We're in the 200s now, so we're just going to. I got hot. All right, we're going to put this in here. We're going to rotate this. We're going to cut right through that adhesive, just like that. Now we're going to come along the bottom. We're going to do the same thing. And see how easy that was to get through there. Again, we want to get this between 170 and 200. And again, once we have that in there, we can verify that that's all released. Rotate this around. Oop. Come down. And we're going to do the same thing along the bottom here. Get through that little piece of adhesive. There we go. And then we're going to gently, you don't want to put too much pressure on this guy. Oh, we're good there. Get over to here, same thing. Rotate this around this edge. There we go, and then there's two more pieces that are going to be along this top edge. Let's see if we can get it from this angle. Yeah, we can. This is going to be the most dangerous part of this because this is the thinnest piece of glass right here. Now, one thing to note when you're coming around this corner and you're doing this side is, like I said, not only is it like the thinnest piece of glass that's on here, because it's not structural, is you only need to go probably about that far, because there's the camera system up here, and the camera, you don't want to like punch through the camera system on the Windows Hello system. That's... I'm getting a little bit hung up right there. Just got to be careful. Go. Almost through all of the adhesive at this point. Gotta be careful, you don't want to separate the glass from the actual LCD screen. As you can see, as I'm doing this, the actual, I don't know if you can see, the actual surface itself is starting to come apart. And we're just going to go around. We're going to hit the last little bits of adhesive that I might still have connected down here. And we're gonna just hit this with some more heat up top. Because at this point I'm putting a nice bend in this and I don't necessarily want to be doing that. So should be able to now come through. just wants to slide on me. Very gentle. Get through that adhesive without hitting the camera. Go through, go around this side. Do the same thing. Just need to go through, make sure we have all the adhesive off. We're going to do the same thing up here. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I've opened a few of these. I don't like working on them because they're designed to not be repairable. But you can repair them. They're just designed not to be. So we got a little more temperature in there. And we're going to slowly work this pick around this edge. Be careful what you put your hands on because everything up here is going to be hot. And then we do the... Yep, that's what Microsoft's intention was with this. Microsoft expected these devices to turn into iPads, where people would just buy them every generation, even though, you know, the Windows operating system had a completely different update system and structure compared to what Apple does. Okay, so that's disconnected now. Now, once we have the actual screen and glass off, we have to check for these cables. This is going to be one of the more difficult things. We are going to, now that we're done with the heat, we're going to, I keep a piece of foam here for working on stuff like this. We need to get in here and we need to check these cables, and I'll kind of give you guys an angle of what you're looking at here. That's how we're going to get in here. There's going to be a cable, and you're going to need to come in and you're going to need to disconnect this cable, because that's going to the screen. And then there's another one right over here, which should be this one. No, I'm pointing at the wrong one. It's this one. Yeah, it's this cable. So we need to disconnect both of those cables, and these should just lift off in theory, because but again, you want to use plastic spudgers to get underneath there. Yeah, this guy's going to be in for a bad time when I tell him that there's no envy of me in this thing. It looks like his data's just gone. We'll take a look here, see if we can't figure out exactly what happened. Alright, screen off. Now, if you were just replacing the screen on this, what you would do now is you would take your heat gun and you would go along the edge of this and you would do everything you can to remove as much of this adhesive as possible. And like, this is one of the big problems I have with this whole thing is, like, they use a different type of adhesive up top than they do on the sides. And then you have to remove it from the inside of this as well. All right, so you have your surface open now. We're going to check a couple different things here. We're going to check underneath this plate, which is not held down with screws. It's just held in there with these little clips that run along the side. But we're going to disconnect and reconnect the battery and see if we get any sort of change in what this thing is actually doing. Because our only concern, legitimately, is getting the data off of this. So we have power there. I'm pressing this power button. I am getting nothing. Let's hook this back in, see if this is like a requirement. It's like, oh, you don't have a video output connected. We're not going to do anything. So we'll plug that cable back in. We'll plug. We're just going through troubleshooting steps here that could possibly fix this issue. Okay. Thank you for the hydrate, Emily. I'll get to it in just a second. So again, we get one power for just a split second, and then it goes off. So we're still not getting anything. It's not like a battery. Ooh, this is different. Hey, and look at that. So, my big thing, we're gonna have this up and running, hopefully. I'm going to ask this guy what his pin is. And then I am going to make a copy of his data. So, apparently, even though it is a motherboard issue, it had something to do with the battery. Now, in theory, I can put this back together. So, we'll see here. I have adhesives. We'll probably end up using that one. And we'll see now if me plugging the battery back in makes this thing start, if it'll start working with the battery. Alright, so that's the battery plugged back in. It looks like it will. It looks like it just needed to have the battery hard reset. So cool. So let's get this turned all the way off. Hopefully this will work. It's not going to. Alright, we are going to disconnect these two cables again. Same two as before. And we're going to do a couple things here. First off, we're going to take a razor blade and we are going to go along this glass edge and remove any excess adhesive. This is where things get a little bit difficult with this. We're going to heat up this edge. Not too much, because we don't want to melt our styrofoam here. Our foam. We want to get this stuff a little toasty to make it a little easier to get off of here. See, once you do that, you can see how much easier it is to get this off of here. I like using a razor blade. The problem with using a razor blade, if you're not careful, you will take the paint off of the glass. So you just gotta be very careful and work your way along this edge. And we're gonna do the same thing along the bottom. And we're going to be very careful when we reattach this. We're going to cut specific lengths that go in places. They do sell kits for this. So if you're ever doing this yourself, try and find one of the kits. It's much more straightforward than what I'm going to do with this. Because then you just lay out the pieces where the kits tell you to. And then it's nice and simple. And you never have to worry about doing what I'm going to have to do. Which is putting adhesive on here, cutting it down, making sure we're not cutting any holes. Or we're not covering any holes. And then praying that the adhesive is strong enough to hold the screen on. Heat with this adhesive, like these adhesives, is just, it's your best friend with this. If you start struggling like I just was, put a little heat in it, comes right off. That's all you gotta do. Okay, let's set this off to the side. And then we need to do the same thing that we just did, but around this edge. So it's going to be the same thing, applying heat, and then slowly going through and removing the adhesive. Alright, so basically from here, we are now going to pull off all of the paper covering, cut down the adhesive that I just put on there, and then once that's cut down, we'll reconnect the video connectors, that's very important, and then slowly put the screen on there, getting everything lined up, and then after that, then we're gonna need to do a little bit of compression with this. And then once we're done with the compression, we are good to go. Now, the important thing with this is don't touch the adhesive and use a very, very sharp razor blade. Like I recommend using basically a new blade with this. I put this blade on yesterday. And probably some tweezers to grab what you're cutting off. If you have a little overhang in places, it's fine. But if you got someplace like right here down in the center where it's just a hollow gap, just go ahead and cut that off. Make sure you are disconnected all the way. You cut through all the material. The other major difference when you buy those kits, the adhesive that you get with those kits is foam adhesive versus the clear super strong stuff that I'm using. Alright, so cable 1, down over there. Nice and seated back on there. And we're very quickly approaching the point of no return with this. Rotate this so I can see what I'm freaking doing. That's back on there. That's back on there. Very quickly before we set this thing down. Hey, thanks for watching that video.
You can check out some of the other videos for more tech-related content. And if you want to catch me live, I am on Twitch at twitch.tv/SpecVengeance, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So come hang out, chat, and maybe learn a thing or two.